I stared down at the grave in front of us, letting out a sigh while trying to fight back the tears. Gala's funeral had gone smoothly. She was laid to rest in a garden full of flowers, all of which were her favorites. I had no idea how Darium had been able to plan all this despite having little to no time to plan the funeral. After all, it had only been days since her passing. But somehow he was able to get a perfect place for her to be laid, filling it with her favorite flower. If I thought it wasn't possible to love him more than I already did, then I was wrong, because right now, I feel like my heart will explode with how much he makes me feel. My feelings seemed to grow every second, and knowing that he had done this for me made them intensify even more. I hope that you find peace, and that your life there is better than it was here. If ever the heavens decide to bring you back to this world, I hope you have a life more different than the one you had, a life more simple, filled with love, peace, and family. A life where we aren't just friends, but sisters. I hope you find rest, Gala. There is no doubt that I would miss you so much, but I know this is not the end. Iris ecur de realis vila. May our paths wander back together, I said, using Nisha's dialogue. It's usually used on loved ones lost, wishing for reunion in their next life. Iris ecur de realis vila. Neith says this from beside me, placing a flower on the grave, before walking towards me and pulling me in for a quick hug. It's going to get better, she mutters softly, pulling away. She gave me a small smile before making her way back to her carriage. May your journey to the other side be peaceful. Devlin, using the Ahaide's parting words to their loved ones, lays down his flower on the grave, then proceeds to walk towards me just like Neith did. His arms cupped my cheek, wiping off the tears that had fallen. His gaze softened as he looked at me, and he leaned down, kissing the top of my forehead. I placed a hand on his left arm that cupped my cheek, giving it a light squeeze to let him know that I was going to be okay and he didn't have to worry. Devlin sighs, letting go of my cheeks. I hate that I have to leave. I understand, but you are needed back in Ahaides. You still have your duties as the Prince of Ahaides. Leaving the kingdom in the hands of Father even for a week does the people no good. I wish I could stay some more days and leave when I'm certain you are indeed all right. I will be fine, brother, I replied with a smile on my face. I doubt what I feel will be anything compared to what Gala's family will feel when the news of her passing is passed to them. You are right, the search for her family still continues, and I still need to oversee it back in Ahaides. He took deep, calculated breaths, gazing warmly at me. I will write to you about an update in their search as well as checking up on you. I await your letters, brother. Devlin nods, pecking my forehead one last time before making his way to his horse, mounting it, and riding off and out of sight. I returned my gaze back to where Gala lay, my arms wrapped protectively around myself as I continued to gaze sadly at her grave. I wasn't sure for how long I stood here, trying not to cry my heart out, when two strong arms wrapped around my waist, my back resting on a hard muscle. The familiar scene of lavender had me relaxing as I leaned more into Darium's comfortable hold. Do you still need to say your goodbyes to her? He asks softly against my ears. I think it's best I leave, staying here saddens me even more. He hums, pecking my shoulder bone. I want to take you somewhere. Do you think you are up for it? His words had me turning sideways to glance at him, and curiosity filled me up. Where? You will find out soon enough. He answers, grabbing a hold of my hand before gently pulling me away from Gala's gravesite. We made our way towards the carriage I had used to come, and Darium gently helped me into it before getting in as well. Where exactly are we going? I asked when we began moving. Patient, et RD, was all he said as we carried on our way, till we got to a familiar path leading down to the lake. When we got to a close distance towards the lake, Darium was the first to get down from the carriage, helping me down as well. He said a few words to the men who rode with us, and they all nodded, proceeding to put a distance between us and them. Darium takes a hold of my hand again, pulling me down the path to the lake, abruptly stopping and blocking my path with his towering figure. His arms cupped my cheeks as he slowly caressed them, leaning in to peck my lips. His gaze was soft when it met mine, and he took a deep breath before speaking. I know how much you have been hurt, finding out about the loss of our child and not being given the right to mourn when you deserve to. And I apologize for having taken away your right to do so. I shake my head, trying to counter his words and tell him it wasn't his fault and that I knew he had done that to protect me, but Darium's finger on my lips stopped me. We both had been disheartened knowing about our loss, and I believe we both deserve a right to say our goodbyes, he says, moving away. I took in the sight of a rare stone. It was lush blue in color. A gasp left my lips when I caught sight of the inscription written on it. To our beloved angel, Letitia's and Darium's love. A better part of us, Sviatoslavic. Despite not having a name, it was still a part of us that was lost. A part of the royal family, a Sviatoslavic. Darium. I sobbed, racing back into his arms. Thank you, I muttered, hugging him tightly like my life depended on it. It's been 2 days since Gala's burial rite, 2 days since Darium took me to the lake, showing me a little tomb made for the child we lost, and 2 days with no word from Devlin. I was trying my best to be patient, knowing a search for an entire family could take weeks or months in the making, but I couldn't help but worry. Would they ever be able to locate Gala's family, and were they alive and out of harm's way? What could have possibly caused their sudden disappearance? Were they running from someone, or had they been taken? Either way, why? Who would want to take a whole family captive, and what had they hoped to gain, seeing as they were among the low class in Hades? Heaving out a sigh, I ran my fingers through my hair as I gazed intently at my reflection in the mirror. My mind was clouded with a lot of questions I wasn't sure if I would get an answer to. A soft knock on the door had me snapping my head towards it, and I watched as it slowly pulled open with Kiva walking in. Kiva. I called out, surprised, not expecting to see her here. Milady, she says, bowing her head. I took in her appearance, taking in the dark circles around her eyes and the paleness of her face. Her eyes were a bit red, and her lips were chapped. From the look of it, I was very certain she hadn't slept much these past few days. I got up from my seat, making my way towards her. My hands rested on her forehead, and I yelped at the hotness of it. I thought I told you to take the week off. I scolded, my brow creased in worry. I prefer going about my duties, milady, she says, fiddling with her fingers. Taking a rest and staying all day locked up in my room does me no good. You don't look too well, Kiva, and you seem to have caught a cold. Working now does your body no good. I will be fine, milady. She is adamant about listening to reasons. I can't stay ideal. Working keeps my thoughts from wandering. I sigh, taking a hold of her hand. What happened to Gala affected both of us. I knew she hadn't been here for that long, but you both have worked alongside each other these past few months and would most likely have created a bond. I'm afraid you're mistaken, milady. Gala and I were anything but friends, and we most certainly never created any bond together. She snapped, her voice filled with venom, which caught me off guard for a second, and I glanced at her with wide eyes. Kiva gasped, realizing what she had said, and before gulping, her eyes wandered around the room nervously. I apologize for my outburst, milady. It wasn't my intention. I only meant we never got the chance to actually get to know each other before her passing, and I can't help but feel guilty that I might be the cause of it. She mutters, tears pooling in her eyes. Oh, Kiva. I called out, hating the sound of the guilt in her voice. I didn't really give her any chance like your majesty had suggested. She continues, nervously fiddling with her finger. It felt like she was keeping something from you, and for some reason I couldn't trust her, and I know you consider her a sister. But I just couldn't put away my doubt. Maybe I should have given her the benefit of doubt. Why would you think that way? I questioned, wondering what could have caused her mistrust towards Gala. Milady seemed to have been so blinded by the fact that she was someone you knew back in Hades to see how suspicious she has been since her arrival in Nisha. My brow furrowed, confused as to why she would think that. You know, I caught her once talking to Milady's sister. There is no doubt that she has been my sister's handmaid for a short period of time after my leaving for Nisha. I stated in a matter-of-fact tone, letting Kiva know that wasn't a ground for suspicion. If ever Katrona and Gala had been seen together, it was very likely that Katrona was coercing Gala into doing her will. This was something she did even back in Hades. But Gala, being the loyal person I knew her to be towards me, always tattled back to me about my sister's threat. Kiva, seeing the distraught look on my face, had her head cast down with sad eyes. I do not mean to cause your majesty any distress, not while still in mourning. I only wish for your majesty to know the reason for my mistrust, not after witnessing your dispute with the king and how hurt you have been since your return from Silvio. What exactly does that have to do with this? I had seen her talking with Princess Katrona the night of King Andre's ball. The conversation seems to be heated. I had questioned her about it that night, but she claimed it was nothing. I probably would have believed her, if not for the fact that the princess had gone into your room that night to share with you such horrendous and devastating news, knowing it would break your heart. And you believe Gala must have told her. Who else would, milady? You said it yourself, she had been your sister's handmaid after you left to Hades. That's highly preposterous. There is no way Gala would ever work hand in hand with my sister or betray me for that matter. I do not wish to cause you any form of distress, milady. I only wish for you to know what I saw. She grabs a hold of my hand, giving me a pleading look. I shake my head. I knew Kiva had no reason to lie to me, but at the same time, I knew that there was no way Gala could ever betray me. It's wrong to speak about Gala that way, she might have died, but I won't let you taint her memory, I said, pushing her hand away from mine a bit more roughly than I intended to, and Kiva winced, holding on to the bicep of her left hand, which had me concerned. Are you okay? I'm fine, Your Majesty, she answered, trying to fight back the groan. I believe you are right, you very much knew Gala better than I did and probably know what she is like. I apologize for my lack of manners. If you don't mind, I think I might be coming down with the flu, like you said. I don't want you infected with what I have. I will have another maid attend to you. She said it in one breath, bowing her head as she walked out of the room. And I stared at the closed door, wondering what had just happened. Etlardi, since I decided not to keep any secrets from you, I think it's best to let you in on what is going on. Darium says. What is it? What seemed to be the matter? I asked anxiously, praying to the heavens that it wasn't yet another bad news. Relax, Letitia. Darium's arms wrapped securely around my waist as he spoke. It is a matter of importance, but not one for you to be frightened of. He states. Before I tell you, it's best we take our seats. He gently leads me towards the bed, helping me sit on it before sitting beside me at the edge of the bed. His gaze is on me, and he sighs, making me more anxious. I thought you said it was nothing to be frightened of. I questioned him when he didn't speak, and Darium took a hold of my hand, softly caressing my palm. It isn't, he finally says. But it does concern Hades and your brother, Prince Devlin. I didn't say anything despite having a lot of questions, but I wanted him to explain more about what he meant and how my brother was involved. We had wanted to tell you earlier, but with everything that has been happening and with you not on speaking terms with me, it seemed futile at that time. Still, you deserve the right to know about our plan to infiltrate Hades. What exactly do you mean by that? I asked, confused by what he meant. There was no way he was planning to do what I think he was. We are planning on waging war with the Hades, or more specifically, with your father, King Leandros. And Devlin seemed to be aware of this. He was the one who, in fact, had brought up the idea. Darium states. I believe the young prince wishes to end the tyrant ways of your father and seeks our assistance with taking the throne, as well. Darium's words were cut short by the sound of my laughter booming in the room. His brows creased together, watching as I continued to laugh, tears dripping from the sides of my eyes. I held on to him, trying to control my laughter, but the more I thought of his plan to help my brother seize the throne from my father, the more I couldn't help but laugh. My laughter died down when I saw the concerned look on Darium's face. I wiped off the tears from my eyes, giving him a sheepish look. I guess I'm the only one who finds this funny, I muttered with a shrug. I mean, don't you find this a tad bit amusing? I believe you've lost me, Etlardi, Darium says, still in the midst of confusion. I didn't think my plan to wage a war with your father was in any way humorous. But it is, isn't it? The irony of it all, I said. I mean, a few months ago, he had married me off in the stead of my sister, in the hope of escaping a war with the Hayatia. I'm most certain he had failed to foresee such a future. I mean, who would have? That the very man he had run to for help would be his ultimate downfall. Letitia. You don't have to worry, Darium. I feel absolutely no remorse for a man like my father. I continued. I can very much understand my brother's reasoning for seeking your help, and I am in support of it. I believe the people of Ahades have suffered more than enough at the hands of my father. I think it's time for a change. There's no telling what the outcome might be. Knowing your father, he would never step down without a fight. And at such a time, I might have to take drastic action. You mean kill him? I stated it bluntly, and Darium grimaced a little at that. Letitia, I know you might seem indifferent about it now, but there is nothing to worry about, Darium. King Leandros is as good to me as dead. He was never someone I could regard as a father. He never performed his duties as one. I believe I have long given up on ever expecting anything from him. To me, he is nothing more than a man who sired me, but he is no father to me. Do what you need to do and help my brother take over the throne. At least we can be well assured that Ahades would be in good hands with my brother ruling. Darium sighs, cupping my cheek. Are you very certain you will be okay if the outcome does result in such? I will be, so worry not. I say it again, and he nods, letting go of my cheek. When exactly do you plan on attacking Ahades? Darium's lips parted a little before stopping. He gave a small smile as he spoke. We can worry about that tomorrow. For now, it's late. I will have your handmaid come help you freshen up. I shake my head, halting his movement. I'm afraid Kiva is too ill to attend to me at this moment, and I'm not used to the other maids helping me with my bath yet. I got up, started to walk towards the closet, and picked up the nightgown when I heard Darium speak again. Would you like me to help you with it? I turned around, meeting his steady gaze on me, and I smiled. You know I can very well bathe myself. I very well know that, Atlardi. He mused. But I know how exasperating it might be for you to bend. I don't want you straining yourself out. I gave a playful eye roll, letting out a laugh before giving him a nod and saying, very well then. Despite trying to keep composed and act not affected by this, I couldn't help but let the heat that had already rushed through my neck settle on my cheeks. I tied my hair up in a messy bun so that it wouldn't get wet, while some pieces of my hair turned loose, then walked over to the bathing chamber, with Darium trailing behind me, as I slowly began pulling out of my clothes, very much certain that this was going to be more than just a simple bath.